schools than you were in high school. They're very technologically literate compared to, well, I know compared to me, because I'm quite a bit older than most people, and they understand that part, and they know how to use it for learning. And the other aspect of that is the world that we live in is technologically orientated. The reality is that many of your children, when they leave high school, are going to work in jobs that require the use of technology. Now, I use my own children, for example. I've got 5 children. My older children work in careers that's what they work off of. My daughter in Denver works off her iPad. That's how she conducts her business. My son-in-law works off his iPad. That's how he does his business. I have a son that works for the railroad, and he happens to be in the technology area. And so that's a huge part of his business. So they need to know how to use these things, how to use them appropriately, and that's part of our job, or at least part of our philosophy here at COZAD, is to help our children learn how to use technology, how to use it educationally, and how to use it appropriately in their lives. Here at the high school, you're going to encounter freshmen, a number of teachers that utilize it very well. You're going to go into a science classroom with Mr. Arda, and he does a great job of taking the lab equipment he has and wiring it into your iPads. For those of you that can remember high school science, and I was a science teacher, you know, you take all your data points, you write them down, you get your graph paper out, graph it, and then you try to interpret it. And that was a fairly lengthy process. Now, when you go to Mr. Arda's room, that's instantaneous. There's the graph. He takes and he explains what all that graph means. So your child's getting information immediately in how to interpret what they're seeing. And you know, that's very useful. Ms. Reiner in the info technology uses not only the computer but the iPad. Your social studies teachers do a great job utilizing technology. One of the things you'll get on your iPad will be your social studies books, currently, and your English. And parents, so you know that we have a rotation for buying books, and so as every curricular area comes up in rotation, we're converting over from the traditional hardback book to electronic version. Now, those of you that remember school, the nice thing about it, there's a huge difference between electronic version books and the textbooks you were used to. In the electronic version, not only do you have the text, but you've got a lot of other features. You can highlight, you can write notes right on the page. There's a note-taking feature. There's embedded videos. There's all kinds of embedded information. Now, you know, you think you can probably still go look at my handbook, but probably somewhere in there it says, if you tear the page in your textbook, well, you said fine. You write in your textbook, there's a fine. If you lose your textbook, there's a fine. That's not the case anymore. That book is your child's, is what? Indefinitely. Because now it'll belong to them, it'll go up to the cloud, and they'll always have that book for whatever they want to use it for. And the other nice thing, parents, I'll tell you, you know, again, thinking back when you were in high school, you don't lose textbooks. That's a big no-no. You don't damage them, you got that. And kids are notorious for losing things and damaging things. They having raised children, I know this. They don't lose their iPads. I mean, this is like, you know, if you got children, you know this, you know, their smartphones, anything electronic, that's like gold, and they take care of it. They don't lose the iPad. It goes with them in the classroom, they got their book. They bring it home, they got their book. They got everything they need. You can't use that excuse, students, that I lost it. I left it at school. It's not here. I don't know where it's at. My dog ate whatever excuses I used in high school myself. That doesn't work anymore because it's all there electronically, and you'll like your iPad so much you'll take it everywhere with you. And another feature that's really nice about it, we're more and more paperless in the building. And our students submit a lot of their papers electronically, a lot of homework electronically. And again, it's a nice feature. They don't lose it a whole bit again. Can they lose their papers electronically? It does happen. I mean, that was part of our growth last year. We had to find how to submit things a little better than what we started with. We ended up with something called e-backpack that works pretty well. Along the way, yeah, we lost papers, but again, nice feature about electronic. And I had to deal with this quite a bit. I had some kids that lost papers, lost things back in their grade. But Mrs. Wolf and myself would go find it. You know, sure enough, yeah, I went to ESU because you used the wrong person's email address. And so we were able to track it down and help kids out. Another feature along that line, a lot of our teachers are good about communicating with their students through email, things like that during the night. Shoot them an email, they'll answer back. They may tell you don't do it after 9 o'clock or the time frame, but many of our teachers like to do that, and it's a good way, again, communicating with your teachers. So there's a lot of nice features about it, a lot of positives about it. I would say that hopefully, you see tremendous growth in it in the 4 years your child's at high school. Our teachers right now, where they're at, a lot of them integrated things into their classroom, and will continue doing that. In the next phase, we hope to see is innovation, some creative things that allow your student to be more creative, collaborate more, and communicate with the world around them. And case in point, just to show you, when you were in school, you were given a paper to write, and you went to the library, you had a little card catalog, look, find that number, roam all over the library trying to find that number, go check the book out, go read the book, and that was just one book. Now, you got to go write a research paper by old guys that are bald and gray are cool, and boom, instantly, volumes of references available to you. And that's a much different feature, and again, allows them to explore their world much better. Now, all that sounds great, but there are negatives. And I won't deny it. I won't tell you we don't have things we got to get better at, because we do. Your child's got to learn to grow and handle these things. And we're going to need your help and help manage that. The big things that we encounter, gaming. Because they can also download games. If you've got a child with PS3, like I do at home, you got to set time limits because they'll game all day long. And we have to manage that. And kids, you have to manage that. Because it's real easy to pull up a game, whatever it may be. So we worked through that last year. We're more aware of that. And what Mrs. Wolf I talked a little bit about here, social media, bigger thing. Social media is a huge thing. Your children communicate in a much different fashion than you do. They don't pick up a phone. They communicate through social media. They say a lot of things in social media. You got to learn how to say the appropriate things in social media. Because one thing which your child doesn't understand because they're young is anything you put out there stays out there. It's called your digital footprint. It doesn't go away. And that's part of our job, self-educating. And we've dealt quite a bit with that. And I've dealt with some very negative aspects of it. And I will tell you, and this is what we'll talk about, all of you know about Facebook. Your kids aren't on Facebook. Because you're an adult, you figured it out, they moved on to the next thing. And you're always going to be catching up. You're never going to get to them. Right? You learn about Twitter, they'll move on to something else. And something else. Because they're in front of us technologically. That's the reality of it. So we're always trying to keep up with them and figure it out. So there are some negatives and some things we've got to address, and we understand that. And we'll talk here tonight, here in just a moment, about some of the responsible use things. I'll just tell you, if you think it's wrong, it's wrong. If that thought remotely enters your mind, it's wrong. No threats, no intimidation, no bullying, inappropriate sexual things. You know, those are big no-nos that cause you some serious trouble with your iPad. And this is, we'll talk about some of those things. So at this time, I'll hand things off to Mrs. Wolf here.
Good evening, and thank you for coming out. I know that you're kind of enjoying the last days of summer here. My name is Patty Wolf, and I'm a tech integration coordinator here at the school, and I'll be working with your students with their iPads to help them learn to use them as a tool in their classroom, but also if they have any issues, any problems with accounts or anything like that. One thing on our meeting agenda, we did this in the spring with the sophomores, juniors, and seniors that took theirs home for the summer. We did everything electronically. So the agenda, all the signing of the paperwork, everything, that we were paperless. But because your students do not have their iPads right now, we had to step back and use paper. But the meeting agenda does have some links on it, and if you ever want to access those, they are on our website. And I'm not sure how many of you ever visit our website, but we do try to put information on there for you as parents and students. And we have a section on our website called iPad Central. Right now it's at the very bottom, but that is where you can go to get documents. If you want to reread some of our paperwork that you are given tonight, all of that is online. So we encourage you to please use that. When we did the iPads last year, and I had some parents, say, well, we did this last year, why do we have to do this again? It's a time we can sit and say, this is what we were successful in, these are things we need to work on, and we would like your help and make that a joint effort between home and the school. And we were well planned last year. I mean, we worked on accounts, we worked on how we were going to get the iPads deployed. The one thing that we did poorly on, and we realized this within a month of school, was our students do not understand digital citizenship. Okay, they're on digital citizenship. Even if you do not have internet at home, do not have a computer at home, if your students have a phone, which a big percentage of high school kids do, they're online. Or they're using a friends to be online. So we really found a need that we needed to stop with you guys and say, are you aware of social media? Are you aware of digital citizenship? I have a slide here, and these are apps that go on iOS devices, Android devices. Kids, I want you to look at those apps, and I want you to tell your parents what some of those are. Right now, just talk to your mom and dad. Mom or dad, tell them what they are. They're social networking sites. They are apps that let us as adults and students connect with others. What happened is our children joined the social networking before a lot of us did as adults. And we only heard the bad things. And so as parents, we got real nervous about what is Facebook and what are these kids doing on that. What happened is then we as adults kind of figured out Facebook's okay. Wow, I can see pictures of my friends' kids. I can meet classmates I haven't seen for a long time. Where'd kids go? Twitter first. Okay, then it was great. I did a professional development with our staff last year at the beginning of the year on Twitter. I'm a big Twitter user for school. And the kids, a couple kids came in and they went, oh great, now they're getting on Twitter. Okay? So once we started being on Twitter, where'd the kids go? Instagram, Snapchat, Line. They're always going to be one step ahead of us. Okay? So here's what we need to do as parents. We need, and teachers, we need to educate them to be good digital citizens and have a positive online image. Colleges, employers, look at online images. And we don't want something crazy or stupid that our students did in high school or middle school to come back and hurt them 5, 10 years down the road. And we know how that is with politicians. I mean, they find things down the road. So one of the things we're implementing this year, and another reason we wanted to talk to you as parents, was we really are going to work on acceptable social media use and acceptable online presence with your children. The one word of advice I always say, and I know this is hard for some parents, if your child's on Facebook, you need to get a Facebook account and you need to be on Facebook. Even if they're your only friend, you only have one friend and it's them. Not that you need to stalk them, but you need to be, you would not leave your child home all weekend or all week by themselves and never check in on them. Okay? So why would we leave them alone in the digital world? If your kids move to Twitter, you need to go to Twitter and you need to follow them, even if they're the only person you follow. And again, it's trying to get that positive use of social media. Social media is huge in professional organizations, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and we want them to be good users when they enter the professional world. So what we've done is we've incorporated some digital citizenship. We started Stop It class last year at the high school. So when we visited with you, upperclassmen last summer, this wasn't in place. If your child has their iPad taken away from a teacher for not following classroom rules, and it goes to Mr. Beckenhauer, or if your child has done something inappropriate online, posting pictures, that type of thing, and it is reported to one of us, your child's iPad will probably be taken away. At that time, Mr. Beckenhauer is going to send you home a letter that says, your child's been enrolled in Stop It class. Stop It class is once a month. It's on a Wednesday at 2:30. When the child brings the signed paper back, then they get their iPad until class. But the class is an hour-long class on a digital citizenship topic. And we always have a project, and the project deals with digital citizenship and doing some project on their iPad, and it has to be something that we can share with the other students on that topic. So at the high school, that's one piece that we've done. We're trying to hold them accountable for what they're doing, and then make that aware to other students. The other thing we're doing is we'll be doing some things during homeroom, through character education and digital citizenship during the homeroom time. Middle school students will now be doing digital citizenship monthly through MOD, and our elementary teachers, 3rd through 5th grade, have designed a curriculum to integrate into the regular classroom. So we are doing some real positive things with digital citizenship. One thing that I have on our website, under that iPad Central, is I try to post information for you as a parent. There's a great one, for example, about if you don't know what Instagram is. You can read this article and it explains what it is and how people use it and so forth. So I try to put these resources online. The school also has a Facebook page under Kozak Community Schools, and throughout the year I do just different digital citizenship tips on there with resources. Okay, on the last page of your handout, the last 2 pages, if you'll look at that handout of stuff, if you didn't get a handout, would you raise your hand? Mr. Evertson has more now. If you came in late too, make sure that before you leave tonight, you sign it. Okay, those last 2 pages, we found this. It's a great site for parents and schools called Common Sense Media. And they work with schools around the nation on building digital citizenship, online behavior, anything from texting to creating websites and social media. And Mr. Evertson and I took this and edited it to fit what we felt were our students. This is not a contract that you turn back to the school. We do not get this. This contract is something we thought might be a tool that you could use to sit down with your child and talk about some of these things of social media. Okay, and again, social media is not just Facebook. It's them sending a text message on a phone or an email. And so we came up with this document that we thought would open that line of communication for you. And if you feel compelled to, you both should sign it, maybe stick it on the refrigerator. If your child comes home with a stop-it ticket, or you've seen something that you do not like that they've done online, you have this document to come back and further that conversation. So it's just a resource that we wanted to share with you as parents. My youngest child is 24, and if I could, I'd go through this with him and make him sign it still today. We miss teaching him through high school and college the digital citizenship piece, and even though he's a professional and has a job, he needs to come back and learn what you guys are learning. Okay, the other thing that I need to bring up is, if you have not been to boot camp, now, sophomores, juniors, seniors, obviously you don't have to come to boot camp. You just, after tonight and everything's signed, you can come up and I'll give you your iPad if you're going to take it home. If you're not going to take it home, you can come get it from me the first day. Freshmen, I need every freshman or new student to Cozad High School to come to boot camp, because that's where we actually set up your Apple ID, we set up your iPad, get it in the case, and it's ready for the first day of school. I've already had 4 sessions. I have 2 more on Monday, the 12th. I have a 10 o'clock morning session, and I have a 6 in the evening session, because I know sports are going on now and so forth. The boot camp takes right at 2 hours, so plan accordingly. And on our website, there is a sign-up. And it will say student orientation. It brings you to this sign-up. And the students then can sign up for the last 2 sessions. I think I have about 8 those sessions on Monday. So please, freshmen, make sure, and new students, that you try to sign up for that boot camp. Otherwise, it might be after school starts, before we get your iPad set. Okay, any questions before I turn it over to Mr. Evertson? He's going to tell you all the forms that you need and so forth. Okay, again, I appreciate your time. I know your summer days are dwindling, but the good note is lots of schools started teachers back today.
You guys hear me okay without the
We need it
microphone?
for the video thing.
Oh, I need it for the video. Okay. All right. I'll try not to talk too loud at the microphone. First of all, thank you very much for coming. We really appreciate it. We're really excited about what we're doing as a school. We have some great things going on in our schools and a lot of positiveness, and I think that's going to bleed down to our kids. It's going to bleed down to our programs. We can't do it without you guys. And I just want to reiterate what Patty said. You need to get discussing these things with your kids. And I know I have a kid who's a senior right now, and our discussions go just like your discussions. How was your day? What'd you do today? Nothing. Well, you got to dig a little, and that contract is a way to do that. You can just say, hey, we're going to fill this out. And you need some rules in your house just like we need some rules in the school. It would be nice if we could just say, hey, here's your iPad. Go have fun. You're going to learn what we want you to learn, right? But kids being kids, they don't always do that. They need some rules. Okay, another thing that you need to keep in mind that is a lot different than it was for us. By us, I mean old people. How many of you parents, when you were 14, 15, or 16, told a dirty or inappropriate joke in the locker room? Come on, you liars. You know you did, okay? Or you did something stupid. What's it like for us when that happens? Somebody might have gone and told on us, right? And then probably would have got beat up after school. What's it like for these guys today when they do something like that? They do it on social networking. There's a permanent record. I can't imagine what my life would have been like if my mom and my grandma and my principal, my teacher could have seen some of the things that I said when I was a stupid young kid. Okay? But it's different for these guys, and I got to give you kids, I got to give you a lot of credit. Because you've come through this, we haven't done much with you. And you've come through this already, a lot of you, and been pretty responsible. So you get some credit for that. But that doesn't mean that we can just pretend that everything's going to be okay, parents. I like to say to our staff, it's like if you took all of the kids, when the kids go home and they get on social networking, it's like if you took all of the kids and we locked them in the school from 3 until 9, shut the doors, no teachers, anything goes. What would that be like? You guys ever read Lord of the Flies? Yeah, that's what we're talking about there, right? But these guys have actually done pretty well. We don't have that many problems. But we still need your help. We need you to get involved and talk to your kids about it. They're going to be bringing their iPads home. Ask them what's going on with them. Make them show you. That does a world of good for a kid to know that you care about that. Okay? Now, we're going to talk about a couple of forms. The first one is that student-parent contract. You don't hand that in to us. There's places for you to sign. That's between you and your student. Okay? We don't need that. The next form that you need is that iPad 24/7 agreement. 24/7 iPad agreement. Okay, I'll let you read all the details. I'm not going to go over that item by item. I just want you to understand what we basically want out of that. First of all, as a student, we're giving you an iPad. Okay? It's a $400 device. It's very, very useful, and it's fun. It plays great games, does a lot of social networking. You can do music, video, all kinds of stuff. And we want you to use it for fun. We want you to feel like you own it. But there are those rules, right? And what we're doing is we're saying, we're giving you this piece of equipment you get to take home. That's a privilege. We can take that away. Just like mom and dad can take that away. And by the way, mom and dad, anytime that you need our help, anytime that you need to say, hey, you are not taking that iPad home for a week, we will do that. We'll keep it at the school. We're happy to have you doing that. Okay? So it's a privilege to take it home. It's not required. None of our teachers give homework that has to be done by that student on their iPad. They may have to get on your home computer. They may have to go to the library. They may have to come up here to school. But no required class, no required assignment requires that the iPad be at home with your student. Make sure that they understand that as well. It's a privilege. We want you to take ownership, but with ownership comes responsibility. So when you sign this agreement, what you're saying is, I'm going to come to school every day ready with my iPad. In other words, I'm going to charge it up overnight, right? If you charge it up overnight, you won't need your charger at school. Okay? You're saying that I'm going to abide by responsible use. So when I'm in class, when you're in class and you visit with another student while the teacher's talking or presenting students, well, if you do, you get in trouble, don't you? Okay? So we don't want you chatting or doing Facebook on your iPad during class. Those are the things that are going to get you in trouble. To be honest, the number one and number two things I think just Rebecca and I would tell you is gaming, and this is especially true for freshmen. We seem to kind of grow out of it by the time we're sophomores for the most part. But gaming during school, some have no willpower, and the other one is the social networking, doing stupid chats, to another student in another room. So be responsible, okay? When you sign that acceptable use agreement, or when you sign that agreement, you're saying you're going to be responsible and that we can take that iPad away. The other thing is the damage. Okay, now if you go to Apple and you buy an iPad, or you go to Walmart and you buy an iPad, they're going to try to sell you the extended warranty, which isn't a bad idea. It's like $130. And what they'll do is they'll say, oh, if you break your iPad, we'll fix it. The first time we'll fix it, or we'll fix it 2 times. Okay? The first time costs you $50. Both of your fixes cost you $50. But you bought the extended warranty, so it's just $50. Otherwise, about $200 to fix one of those. Okay? That's what we have to pay for. Well, we didn't want to pay $130 for the extended warranty, plus you have to pay another $100 if your child broke the iPad twice for the life of the iPad. We sat down and ran the numbers, and we said, well, if we had 10% of our kids break their iPads, we could just charge $35 from everybody, and we could repair them. We could pay to have them repaired. So if you're taking the iPad home, you're paying $35 every year so that you don't have to have an extended warranty. If you pay your $35, and then you go, first day of school, you put it on the top of your car, and you drive home, and it's still on the top of your car until halfway home, right? And the screen breaks. And you come in and you give Mr. Beckenauer the big puppy dog eyes, and I'm sorry, it's the first day of school. We're going to say, you know what? We'll fix that for you. You paid your $35, we're going to fix it. That's one. Okay? Now, if you were doing something really stupid, really stupid, like not just leaving it on your car, but maybe water skiing with it, yourself or something, we might say, well, we're not going to cover that. If you're playing frisbee with it, or you're throwing it, or this would be really stupid. This happens sometimes when kids have notebooks, there's always the joker that comes up behind you and knocks the notebook out of your hand. Well, if you're the one who did that with a kid with his iPad, we're probably charging you, not the kid who dropped it. And we're probably not going to use your $35. But if it's an accidental thing that happens, we'll fix it for you. If it happens again, we'll fix it for you again, but we're going to charge you a $100 deductible. It costs us $200 to fix it. Now, I'm going to tell you that 90% of our kids had no breaks. Well, maybe 85%. Okay? They really take pretty good care of them, but 10%, 10 to 15% did have breaks. Okay? So, if you're taking them home, you got to pay $35. Now, if you're a freshman, this only applies to the freshmen. If you're a freshman, you're getting a Griffin Survivor case. We think that that's going to really drop our breakage down a lot. But you still have to pay the $35 if you're taking it home. Okay, we have had one broken in the Griffin Survivor case. If you are not a freshman and you're a returning student, you got a case last year, but it's not as tough as the Griffin case. We didn't think, we already bought you a case. We couldn't really afford to buy you a whole new Griffin case, but we decided we would let you help us buy you or rent you a tougher case. So this is completely optional. If you're a freshman, you don't have to listen to any of this. But if you're a student returning from last year, you can pay an extra $15, and we'll put you in a Griffin case and take your old case back. Okay? So a little more insurance. You do not have to do that. We're not trying to sell the Griffin cases. Okay? We're not making any money on that. We just wanted you to have the option if you wanted to do that. Okay? Now, the other thing that you have to sign in there is the responsible use agreement. And basically that says you're going to be responsible, but this is not just about the iPad. When every single person who works at this school and every student who attends this school signs the responsible use agreement, that's different than your iPad agreement. It says you are going to behave responsibly online. And if you do not, you can lose your online privileges, including your iPad. We could take that away. Okay? Now, what would be some dumb things to do? Well, bullying, inappropriate material on a school device, sending inappropriate material to a student and it's on their device. All of these things are just dumb things that can get you in big trouble. We're not going to sit down and try to figure out if you used your iPad to do that or not. If I make Dallas mad in school and he goes home and writes a big long blog about how he's really going to beat me up the next day and sends it to me and threatens me, then he could lose his iPad even if he wrote that on his mom's computer. Okay, we're not going to sit down and play investigator and try to figure out what device you did it on. So if you're signing these agreements, if you're taking your iPad home, if you're even using your iPad in school, you're agreeing to be a responsible person, okay, in your online behavior. All right? Any questions on that? Okay, I'm going to get you out of here. Sorry to go so long. When you leave, you need to turn in your iPad 24/7 use agreement, signed by the parent and the student. The student and the parent both need to sign the responsible use agreement. Those are both together in your packet. Okay? If you are paying your $35 or $50 by check, all you have to do is put your check in your envelope, drop it off at the table on your way out. You don't have to stand in line. But if you are paying in cash, we really want you to wait until we can give you a receipt so we can make sure that we agree with you that that's the amount of cash that's in the envelope and we're not missing anything. Okay? So if you're paying by cash, stick around. We've got them pre-printed. We'll get your receipt real quick. If you're paying by check, all you have to do is put the check in the envelope, drop your forms off on your way out along with your payment, and you do not have to pay tonight if you can't, or you want to wait until school starts, that's fine too. We just have to have that payment before your student can take the iPad home. If you have individual questions, please stick around and ask any of us. We'll be happy to talk with you. Any other general questions we need to answer? Mrs. Wolf.
If you've been at boot camp and you get everything signed, like I said, you're welcome to come tomorrow and pick up your iPad. I'd be glad to give it to you tonight. You're going to have to wait until everybody's gone before I could go get it. So it would be a little while.
Okay, I think that's it. Thank you all very much for coming. Enjoy the rest of your summer.
Yes, sir.